Frankly speaking, he didn't have any money. I kept his wages for him, and they are in my safe. In any event, what the deuce would he have a need for money?
Who knew that he worked at your home, and had he any contacts here in London?
Anyone who deals with me professionally knows Baopa is my personal servant. As for his contacts, they are limited to the delivery men who bring food or other items to my home. What reason could he have to see anyone other than myself?
Now then, Sergeant, what is it about, and what elements of the crime do you have documented?
Referring to the official report, the following particulars were taken down. A young Maori responding to the name Baopa was reported missing by his employer, Mr. Stenick. No one in the surrounding area saw or heard anything relevant to this incident. In truth, we rarely concern ourselves with cases such as this, but the lad speaks not a single word of English, and according to his employer, has considerable strength. Considering the wild customs of his native land, who knows what damage he could cause? You must know, Mr. Holmes, there have been a few similar cases reported recently. The facts are much the same. Immigrants from the poor districts have been reported missing by their families. We expect that some low-class brothel has opened its doors to the local exotics, and Mr. Holmes, you can imagine how word would spread. Mark my words, with his unique looks and speech, we'll find this boy in no time. I imagine he'll have nothing worse to show than empty pockets and a delighted air.
That is a possibility, to be sure. However, I would be most grateful if you could ask your superiors to send me the reports about those similar cases. I rely on you, Ruffles. Watson, continue your search here. I must follow another lead. Footsteps. Let's see. Footsteps. The size is undoubtedly 7. The shoes are also hard-soled. What a peculiar drawing. This appears to contain some measure of opium. I shall... Yes, there is something here. Yes, there is some... Footsteps. Let's see. The size is undoubtedly 7. Footsteps. Let's... Footsteps. Let's see. How strange. This appears to be a fish scale. I shall have to examine this more thoroughly under the microscope. The right shoe is missing a nail. The lock was not cracked. The lock was not cracked. Flaxen, yellow in color.
Have you found anything, Mr. Holmes?
Suit yourself, Mr. Holmes, but it seems to me you're just wasting...
What do you make of this, Holmes?
This should prove useful. Yes, there is something here. Fibers. Why are they here? It will be necessary for me to examine this more closely at Baker Street. Come, Watson, we must return to Baker Street.
What do you make of this, Mr. Holmes?
Mr. Stenick, I wish my news were your servant simply left your employment voluntarily for the service of a more honest man. Unfortunately, I don't have that pleasure. In truth, the news is grim indeed. Your servant was seen in the company of 2 men yesterday. One of the 2 is a man of moderate size, very robust, and a mature age. His profession, which will be the key element in our investigation of this affair, will be determined by me within few hours. The other is a young Hindi who is tall and only recently arrived in England. There is a darker side to these events. Your man was not with them by choice. Rather, the evidence shows he was kidnapped. At this moment, the reasons behind this villainous act are unknown, but rest assured, the truth will not elude me for long. Gentlemen, I wish you a good day. Come, Watson, we must hurry. There's a great deal to do and little enough time to spare.
Holmes, I must protest. You did not spare my client, Captain Stenick. This seems unusually harsh.
That may be, Watson, but now what matters more is to know the reasons behind the kidnapping of this young aboriginal yesterday evening in central London, and more importantly, what has become of him. I must concentrate on a small experiment I will run to test my theories. Please go to the poor lovelorn Barnes and ask him if he has something on the Maori nation and its traditions. Also, if you should happen to see the newsboy outside, find out what he knows, and if it has value, give him a coin. And for God's sake, don't be a miser, Watson.
A miser? You cost me one of my patients, and you question my level of generosity with your informers? Oh, really, Holmes, sometimes you go too far.
Nothing. Very interesting. According to this monograph, the fish scale appears to be from a perch, a saltwater fish with high commercial and culinary value. These rope fibres are clearly hemp. Now, about the origin of these stains. Let's see if I can obtain a reaction with the help of my chemicals and apparatus. Now it can't be used for anything. Now it can't be used for anything. This is evidently coal soot mixed with water, and given the absence of any salt particulates, it must be fresh water. I shall have to examine this more thoroughly. The meatball ignited but failed to burn completely. There are, without a doubt, mustard seeds present, probably in exotic form. What could be the other components, I wonder? Let's see if I can obtain a reaction with the help of my chemicals and apparatus. Perhaps if I apply heat? Incredible! I note a strong presence of opium blended with a concentrate of morphine. The remaining elements are a mystery to me. I should look from the window and see where Watson is.
There's a good lad. How does it go?
Hello, sir.
My associate, Sherlock Holmes, said you might have information for him about... now, what was it?
The princess, Gov. He was looking for the scuttlebutt on this here princess what we visiting. Exciting goings on. Her bodyguard went missing the first morning after she got here. Nice job to look after a princess's